Well, one person who knew Jacques Chirac better than most people, perhaps, is the French journalist Christine Ockrent. She interviewed the former president a number of times, and she joins us now live. Christine, thank you for taking time to speak to us. What was he like?
Well, I believe Jacques Chirac was very much the epitome of the French politician of the last century. He was extremely French. He loved ladies, saucisson, a good beer, cigarettes, but above all, politics. And he was, in the words of one of his political patrons, a bulldozer. He was a political bulldozer. He actually stormed through French politics, as you said, in various capacities for more than half a century. And he was at the same time very human and therefore very popular with the French. He had a great deal of empathy and a personal touch with people. And he was a ferocious politician. And of course, most of his enemies, remember that, I guess, starting with Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, who was one of his predecessors, and whom Chirac more or less betrayed at some point. But then that's politics.
Indeed it is. His popularity shot up enormously, though, when he opposed the Iraq war. Do you think that is what most people will remember him for here in France?
Yes, you are absolutely right. I think that Dominique de Villepin, who was then the French foreign minister, his speech at the Security Council in New York epitomized Chirac's foreign policy, his stand against George W. Bush neoconservative policies in the Middle East, which has proved to be a total disaster. And so, yes, you are absolutely right. But one should also remember that Chirac was very much a pro-EU French politician at a time where in his political family it was not that obvious. And he supported, in particular, the efforts to promote what was wrongly called an European constitution back in the mid-90s. But he did a lot to try and enforce the French vision of the European Union. It was certainly also another dimension which should be remembered.
You mentioned his love of ladies, saucissons and cigarettes. Do you think, later on in life, he clearly was somebody who courted controversy, as you said, but do you think his convictions for, abuse of power and embezzlement, do you think that will sully his image?
I don't think it will. I think, above all, the French will, and it shows already in the many testimonies in the French media since this morning. I think there will be more nostalgia. There are lots of people who always say, quite wrongly, in my view, oh, it was so much better before. But I think, again, Chirac will be remembered as this very warm, very physical guy. You see him here, I think it was in Jerusalem, when he forced his way to approach, I think, in a Palestinian part of Jerusalem. I think the French are proud of him. And again, for all his faults, I think they recognize him as one of theirs.